Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to continue to have a look at the potential for a very wintry week starting in the next couple of days. It's looking likely we're going to see very cold air spread in and Atlantic systems trying to come up against that cold air from around Tuesday onwards. There are repeated bouts of precipitation. It's going to get pushed towards the UK, and we are continuing to see some huge snow events from some of the models. I must emphasise the uncertainty that we are continuing to see. There is huge uncertainty from all the models, even from as early as I said from Tuesday, Wednesday time. So we'll continue to look through all the runs today. There are some that are showing huge snow events, and I must say, had to take these with a grain of salt as it can change very quickly. Others showing rain in the south, snow in the north, others showing nothing at all, and then there's even some that just keep us very cold with lesser in terms of snow. So I must emphasise, anyone who says exactly when snow is going to fall or where it's going to fall and with what intensity is not looking at a broad range of models. You can look at any of these individual runs and decipher what you want, but the model consensus really, there is no model consensus at the moment when it comes to precipitation. All we know is it's going to be cold next week, definitely in the north, most likely in the south at times, with the greatest risk of significant snow in the south early in the week and perhaps later in the week, as that milder air pushes northwards. Could be more significant snow in the north as well. So as I said, we'll go through the runs, we'll see what they're showing today. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So you start on the live radar, you can see we have a few showers in the north and the east at the moment. This is because the northeasterly wind is starting to arrive. The proper cold air is still up towards Scandinavia, as you can see here. Big precipitation hitting into the coast of Norway, a lot of snow here with these convective showers, and that is the big cold air mass that is coming our way, but it's going to not really arrive for another 24 hours or so for the north, and for the south probably into Monday and Tuesday. So very cold air is spreading in, but at the moment we've got chilly air with the northeasterly flow with a few wintry showers, but mostly still rain. If you look at the temperatures, as I'm recording this around 3 p.m, you'll be able to see that it is chilly out there, but nothing especially cold. Some yellows appearing, indicating the temperatures getting towards that sort of mid to high single digits, so average to below average quite widely. But these lighter blues that you can see, that's going to become a lot more widespread, as you can see, very cold air towards Scandinavia, and that's exactly where our air is going to be coming from over the coming days. And these sort of yellows to our south and oranges, temperatures around 15 to 20 degrees plus, going to be coming up from the southwest. Where that collides, that's where we're going to see the big precipitation and potentially snow. Now, if you look at the weather warnings, we do still have these two snow and ice warnings. We looked at them in detail, so we won't go through them in too much detail today. But we still got these issued for the north and the northeast, and this is for the convection that we're going to be seeing from the northeasterly wind, not from any frontal snow. So this is from big beefy showers that we'll be able to see in good detail on the UKV in a minute, pushing in. And again, there could be a few centimetres of snow falling for this. So you can see this initial warning has been issued but not updated. So no change from yesterday, again from the whole day of Monday across the northern and eastern coasts. Again, big snow showers pushing in. Again, high impact, low likelihood. So very uncertain where they will come in, but where they do and where they could band up. Could see 5 to 10 centimetres over the higher ground and 2 to 5 centimetres towards low-lying areas. Tuesday's warning hasn't been updated either, and again it's for the whole day of Tuesday. And again, 5 to 10 centimetres over higher ground, 2 to 5 centimetres towards low-lying areas, and again high impact, low likelihood. I do suspect these will be updated, and we will see more warnings issued, even some precautionary warnings for snow and ice, as there will definitely be events this coming week where we don't know which way it will go, whether it will be rain, sleet or snow. Some areas who want snow will get rain. Other areas that are looking at rain initially could see snow. So it is going to be a very, very difficult week this week for forecasting things, and I can guarantee you we will get things wrong. The Met Office will probably get things wrong as well, just because of how marginal these snow events this coming week are going to be. So if we do now first go over to the UKV, a very high resolution model. It's one of the best ones, and we look at it pretty much daily in our videos. And it's one probably I personally highly have the highest regard for. Again, it does usually get positioning quite well, not always the intensities, but it is a very good model to look at. And today it is showing some significant snow. for some in the south as early as Tuesday, Wednesday time. Now, I must emphasise before we even look at it, this is not a forecast because, as we'll see from the other models in a minute, some of them take the precipitation much further southwards, nothing, just cold, wintry showers in from the northeast. Others have it further northwards, rain along the south, snow into the Midlands and northern England. So if we do run through it, you can see this afternoon just showers continuing in the northeast, but more shower activity and cloud amounts increase over the next 24 hours as those northeasterly winds start to really push in. As we head into Sunday, you can see more showers pushing in and wintriness over higher ground pretty much anywhere, but mostly rain. But as we head overnight into Monday, you can see more snow falling, especially over higher ground and inland, locally to low-lying areas, and then the very heavy snow showers start pushing in from the north. When all this mix pushes through Monday night, there is signs some of it could fall as snow in places. UKV not really looking at that too much. Again, all depending on the timings. If this really cold air just on north does undercut it, we will have to see. There is a big low pressure system just out in the North Sea that could enhance showers down the east coast. UKV not making too much of it here. Initially, some big showers just offshore. But as I said, look what happens into Tuesday. A weather front with milder air starts to push into the south, gives heavy snow for a time there, and then an even bigger weather front pushes in. Look at that. Significant snow, even towards coastal areas, right on the south coast, and that eventually does move away, and we see more wintry showers pushing in. I must emphasise the uncertainty with this. If we just move to when that snow is pushing in, look how close we are to that milder air. 50 to 100 miles difference could decide between rain, sleet and snow. And as in a couple of the other models we'll look at in a minute, are not producing anything really at all when it comes to that, or moving that snow much further northward. So huge uncertainty. And again, look at the dew points. Dew points decide whether it's rain, sleet and snow as well. Dew points below freezing, you can see it's well below freezing in land, but just to our south, getting up towards the mid-single digits for dew points. So big uncertainty we are seeing here. Again, if we look at the 2 meter temperatures, you can see today it's sort of below average, 5 to 8 degrees, and that will continue over the coming days. We're getting a lot colder early next week. Again, these surface temperatures will not get towards sort of the freezing level in day, simply because we are too late in the year to be seeing that. So if we do see snow, if we do see significant snow like that UKV just showed, it will likely settle overnight, but in the day probably will have quite a high melting rate. So that will mean if we do see significant snow, it shouldn't be as disruptive as if it fell in December, January, even February, where it can stick around all day and have very little melting in the right conditions. So as we head into Sunday, frost in places, and into Sunday afternoon, again, will be cold, 5 to 7 degrees widely, even cooler than that in a few spots. As we head into Monday, though, overnight, temperatures widely down towards low single digits, if not towards freezing, and for many through Monday afternoon, it's cold, but nothing ridiculously cold, 6 to 9 degrees in the south. Much colder in the north, much more towards freezing as that initial cold air moves in. It's the early hours of Tuesday, widely below freezing, and that's going to freeze the ground for that incoming precipitation. You can see where it does fall, it keeps those temperatures towards freezing elsewhere, widely low single digits, and then it does freeze overnight into early hours of Thursday. Once again, we see clear skies, widely -5 or lower than that. So it is turning very cold. Again, uncertainty for the exact a level of cold and precipitation further southwards. The south has got the highest risk of significant snow, but it's also got the highest risk of milder air as well. So we will have to see where we do see it, but I must say it looking highly likely next week. Some areas do see significant falling snow, potentially settling snow as well. Now, if we do look at the GFS and see what that is showing over the next couple of weeks, of course, it's good to keep an idea on the longer term impacts as well. We'll have a look at the main 3 models and their precipitation charts as well. You see the northeasterly pushing in, and then we've got the sea of low pressure systems starting to push in from east southwest. Here the GFS nudges it in and gives perhaps a snow event in the far south there into Thursday. Cold northerly wind still pushing in, but you can see the block to our northeast is getting pushed away more towards a west-based negative NAO, and what that does is it allows southwesterlies in. Initially could be heavy snow, and to the north of these lows could still be snow in Scotland, maybe northern England, but it pushes that snow line much further northwards, bringing the risk of significant snow in the north. Eventually it does turn milder for pretty much all areas. Again, we won't look at the exact upper air temperatures here, as it's a real big mix, and we'll be able to see in the ensembles the huge uncertainty with regards of those upper air temperatures, especially in the south, but definitely in the north it's looking very cold. and there's risk of widespread snowfall at times as well. So if you do look at those precipitation charts from this latest GFS run, you can see those northeasterly winds pushing in. Initially a load of wintry showers, potentially some snow in the back edge of some of those, the cold polar front, and then we see low pressure run into that cold air in the far south. Now this is where the UKV provided a huge snow event for southern England. Here that precipitation stays offshore or into France. Not seeing any snow at all really, bar from maybe the far southwest. Bit more snow potentially at times through Wednesday to Thursday, a lot drier, and could see maybe some heavy snow through Thursday into Friday. So you can see the lows staying much further offshore, so much more drier, but probably more widely colder pattern here, with wintry showers being the main risk for most of the first half of the week. As we head into later in the week, we see the weather fronts pushing in, but much further northwards, and this provides a huge snow event from the Midlands northwards, southern England, seeing heavy rain, and that continues towards the end of the week where maybe northern England and Scotland seeing significant snow, the south more rain. Now if you do look at the GM, just to compare that, of course, very similar pattern over the coming days, but again I must emphasise there is huge uncertainty with the exact positioning of low pressure and the cold air masses. We all get to the point from all the models here around Tuesday time, cold air spreading all the way through, low pressure approaching from the southwest. Here that low pressure skirts our south, again potentially giving a big snow event. We'll look at the precipitation for that in a minute. But as we get into Friday, this low pressure system is much further northwards. This would give significant snow, I must emphasise that, but only in its northern and eastern edge. So mainly Midlands, Northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland. As it moves through, cold air will be wrapping around for also could see some back edge snow even in the south from this, for eventually it does go more westerly. Still snow in the north with colder air masses very close by, but eventually milder for all. Again, if we look at the precipitation from this GEM run, again the cold air shifting in by the end of the week, turning cold fall, maybe some snow in the far south from the back edge of the polar front, and then we see significant snow as that low pressure bumps into that cold air. Could turn to rain on its back edge, and then we see another significant area of low pressure move in for Thursday into Friday. As I said, Midlands, East Anglia, Northern England, Scotland and Northern Ireland seeing the snow from this, Southern England seeing nothing. Again, these things can change significantly from a 50 to 100 mile shift in the positioning of the low pressure system, in the positioning to the block to the northeast, in the severity of the cold. So, again, showing significant snow in the north here, but this can change very quickly. And as we've seen, both from the UKV and the GFS, all broadly very similar overall patterns, but very subtle differences, giving big changes in the outcome. Eventually this low clears, back edge snow potentially from that with a cold northerly wind, for eventually more rain approaches that could turn to snow in the far south. Again, have to see the exact positioning in that low, for eventually we see more of a westerly flow, snow on its leading edge, for it turns more towards rain. So if we do now have a look at the ECMWF, see how that does compare up until day 10. Again, northeasterly winds coming in at the moment, very cold. See the low pressure sliding to our south, significant snow in places through Thursday into Friday maybe, and then eventually it does go more westerly, but more lows just getting picked up. Again, if this jet stream was slightly further southwards, more of this would be snow. Again, all very similar in terms of pattern, but all these little low pressure systems that do develop are giving real big headaches. Again, look at the precipitation from this as we move through. Heavy showers pushing into the northeast, maybe with some snow on its back edge of the polar front, and then that low slides into that cold air. Could see some snow. Nothing too significant. Most of that heavy precipitation is going into near continents, eventually spreading through, most areas staying pretty cold. However, into Thursday to Friday, significant snow, but again, Midlands northwards. And then into the later in the week, seeing more snow push in, but again, mainly for northern areas on its leading edge, for eventually we all go milder. So all the main runs we've had a look at, all the 3 mid-range runs and the high-resolution UKV, all have a significant snow event, at least one, some 2 or 3 in places. Some in the south, some in the Midlands, some into Northern England and Scotland. So I think it's pretty safe to say we are going to see significant snow somewhere next week, but exactly where it is going to be impossible to say. The big sort of systems we're looking at is Tuesday into Wednesday with an approaching low pressure system that's starting to get resolved, but still uncertainty with its exact position. You see the UKV produce heavy snow for that, other runs keeping it just offshore, or other runs producing it slightly further northwards with less intensities. And then, of course, there's the Thursday towards Saturday range, where there could sort of be back-to-back low-pressure systems, and again, the exact positioning of those will give huge differences in the positioning of precipitation and the eventual snowfall. Now, if you do finish by looking at the ensembles, this does really reflect the uncertainty. This is the London ensemble. We'll compare it to Glasgow, where we've got a lot more certainty in the air masses. You can see up until about Wednesday, we've got a huge certainty in the air masses. In around 3-4 days' time, we're pretty sure it's going to be down towards that -5 level. However, towards Wednesday onwards, look at that. So we've got huge spreads, some down to -12, -13, pretty much guaranteed snow. Others 0 degrees, and the average is around the -5 level. You see the operational run definitely on the colder side, all the way towards the end of the week before springing back towards milder conditions once again. But there has been increased uncertainty in these ensembles in the last couple of days as the lows are starting to get resolved. So this is definitely just showing you how a few days ago we were pretty sure it's going to go freezing cold all week. Now we're less so it's going to be freezing cold, but we're more sure there's going to be significant snow and perhaps or at significant falling snow in places. Huge precipitation with quite a few colder runs just equals potential snow. Again, you look at the new snow depth, quite a few snow depth spikes indicating potential for snow, and look at the 2 metre temperatures, it's all over the place. Next Wednesday, some runs sort of 5-6 degrees, others down towards freezing. Even bigger contrast on Thursday, some into the low teens, others 1 or 2 degrees. And it's not just a couple outliers, it's a good 5 to 10 runs at 10 degree plus, and a good 5 to 10 runs at 2 or 3 degrees or lower, which is sort of a threshold for seeing falling snow. And again, the dew points really well emphasised. Some -15 or lower, others up towards 10 degrees, a 25 degree difference in dew points. It shows you why there is heavy snow around, big contrast between air masses, but it just shows you why some areas could see heavy rain and some could see snow. I must compare it to Glasgow though. You can see the upper air temperatures for Glasgow are much more certain, all the way to around the 10th, 11th. We're pretty sure it's going to be down towards the -10 level. Again, showing you that in the north it's pretty resolved. It's the south where we've got huge uncertainty, but also the biggest risk of precipitation you can see for the north, not too much in terms of major spikes here until around the weekend, where, as we saw from the main models, it's looking likely that rain snow line will be shifted much further northwards, and that we could see significant snow through Scotland and northern England here. Again, there could be really quite significant snow over some of the hills and mountains. You can see some of these big spikes starting to appear. There will be snow earlier in the week from convection in Scotland, northern England, northeast England, East Anglia probably, but nothing frontal perhaps until sort of the middle or end of next week. And if we just finish by looking at the ECMWF, see if they've got any more clue what's going to be happening. Quite a bit more assurance for Glasgow here. Again, staying around the -10 level, so pretty confident for Glasgow, continuing from the ECMWF. But for London, perhaps a bit more assurance that it's colder, more colder runs here with more precipitation. So ECMWF perhaps more on the side of colder runs. The operational run did actually go slightly milder there with that precipitation further northwards. But still, there are quite a few milder runs here at sort of the 5 or 6 day time frame, which is really just showing you the uncertainty that we do have. So in sort of summary, not too much has changed in terms of what we saw yesterday in terms of certainty with it. The only certainty we do have is I do think there is going to be some significant snow in places next week, but it's just pinpointing where it's going to occur and how widespread it will be, whether we'll see any significant settling snow. Again, to see that, we ideally see it fall overnight, but all these things we've still got to resolve. No wonder the Met Office have not issued any more warnings, as we can just see the chopping and changing from all the individual runs. So we'll keep you updated with what's going on. Of course, with the next couple of days it's going to be resolved. At least Tuesday into Wednesday will be resolved. Perhaps we might have to still wait another couple of days at least for the end of the week to be resolved, but I'm sure it will be resolved in the coming days and we'll have a much better idea. I do think some of these events will be nowcast situations where we know the positioning of the precipitation, but we don't know exactly where the rain snow line will pop up. So we will have to see what happens, but it's going to be a very big scratching the head sort of week in terms of forecasting these snow events. We could see something really major though, so make sure you do stay tuned, keep up to date with the warnings, and make sure you are subscribed to see the videos over the coming days. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.